Are your bodies ready for today's episode? Man, I look around, what a beautiful, wild, and wonderful ecosystem we have here. And when the price goes up, people actually start being like, "Oh, that was a thing that was supposed to happen that one time. The one time that we've been talking about that for a long time now. That thing, feels good. Feels good. Feels good to participate, do things the right way, start seeing some progress. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen anything yet in the grand scheme of things, but boy, was this morning. I was telling the guys in the green room, it was like I had to disconnect from crypto just for a little bit. I was so hyper going through all the news, seeing all the DAI transfers. I've been tracking some stuff and myself too. I mean, it's all public. A lot of really good tools out there. A few good tools to kind of see some of the things too, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit as well. But boy, it's been exciting. So I'll get to chat in just a minute. Got a lot to get through. Put your question in the chat. No promises we'll get to them, but we'll try to bring up as many as we can. Action-packed stream starts now. Welcome back to the show. Neil4Tshares and AxisAlive. How's it going?
Hey, Max.
Yo. What's going on, everybody?
Oh, man. I'm just taking a breather. You guys got some stuff to talk about today? I'm just I'm still consuming. I feel like I'm consuming and creating at the same time. It's like one of the I've never quite felt that very many days other than this today. It's like I need to both consume and create at the same time. It's been, you guys follow me on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about. These guys too, I'm sure too. But man,
it's way insane when you're in it and you're building it and you're creating content every day, and you're managing, onboards and developing protocols. And there's a lot. There's almost too much to frame it all up and nicely, and things get kind of chaotic when the prices move with that kind of speed. But it's still right on schedule. And I was telling these guys in the green room that, sometimes it's just better to, all right, you got the signal, time to just walk away from the screen. I'm cool walking away from the screen when you got a fat green candle. For me personally, so many folks are I saw a tweet, Hawks made a tweet today. He said he's getting people asking, is it time to sell? Should I sell my bag? And it's like, HEX is still 95% down. PulseX hasn't even hit sack rate yet. It's like you guys you're fucking noobs, guys.
Yeah.
This is not you haven't even seen anything really kick off yet because we haven't broken the highs on the 4 RH coins. You'll see it first on PulseX and Inc. Just doing crazy numbers, and then once HEX breaks its all-time high, the whole landscape's going to change and all of crypto is going to capitulate in. So hang in there. I know it's exciting and things, and this is just the warm-up phase. This is the second leg of a multi-year bull market, and couldn't be more excited.
Exactly.
Neil, how's your day been going? Have you been able to keep it together?
Well, about daylight this morning, I got up and normal stuff and see the news, see the candles, and I'm looking at the limit order side of things and checking out the limit orders, and I'm getting the feedback and I'm watching the Twitter come in with all the movement from the wallets, and so I'm on a call with some guys, helping people out, talking about positioning, and so then I forget I have bags too because I'm trying to help others. I'm trying to build stuff. I'm my hands on a lot of things right now, so I have to maintain my own bag. So a few minutes I'll take a look and say, okay, all my limit orders they all popped and time to reset them and keep on going. And because I'm testing compound limit orders, I have the options of I'm catching both sides right now. So I mean, once those tools are available, and people are going to just be able to make so much money just by setting two-sided trades and making bank on all this high volatility. You can make so much money in here if you just play your cards right and do some smart TA. Listen to people like Axis who talk about these things. I mean, if you can kill it right now.
It's ripe. The chart is ripe for abuse in both directions because the volatility is going to really pick up, and so. No pressure. You can always just, sit in the farms and earn pretty high APYs, or you can stake HEX on a ladder, or you could do pulse validating, or you could take it up a notch and you can kind of tackle it with another layer of granularity and really compound your returns. No pressure in either way. There's just so many opportunities on PulseChain right now. It's ridiculous. And to imagine like 12 to 18 months more of this is just, it's so exciting.
There's no shortage of information in this ecosystem. Like, even if you just got here, just go back, look at the videos. I got a ton of playlists. Axis has done a ton of streams. Neil has done a billion videos as well, and lots of different strategies, what this place is about, the different opportunities. I literally have a series called Making Money in Crypto. I literally have a series on the channel called that, where we go through all the different ways to make money at HEX, PulseChain, this ecosystem that we love. So information is not the problem. You got all the streamers, you got all the tweets, you got all the people to follow. So if you're new here, please look into that, and welcome. Take a seat over there, as our friend Tommy would say. So before we get into it, again, ton of stuff to break down. Let's recap real quick. Richard went on a tweetish storm over the last, I would say 7-8 days. So December 21st, that was the decorrelated. I just want to set the stage here for everyone. He was like, decorrelated Ethereum? And that struck me as super interesting. Like, I did a stream on it, and a lot of people talked about it as well. He didn't say uncorrelated, but he said decorrelated. And he showed, prices of some of the assets here in the ecosystem. And then we got strong like bull on February 25th. So that was Fed can't keep up. PulseChain solves this. Strong like bull. So at first I was like, okay, he's just taking another opportunity. Something goes down or otherwise showing our network is up and all that stuff. But now today I'm like, strong like bull. What did that mean? All the tea leaves, man, the tea leaves, the coffee beans, what was going on there? And then February 26th, this is, I just titled it Year of Gains in a Day, which I literally had to reread some of these tweets, because when they first come out, some people look at them for a while. Some people are just like, yeah, passing. Oh, that's cool, he tweeted. But I went back and looked at this one this morning, and it was like, some people prefer to make a year of gains in a day.
Wow. It's in your face.
It just, the little things, like the rest of it's like, okay, talking about scenarios and all this stuff. And he says that volatility, and then of course, the greatest hits, volatility is the price you pay for the world's best performing asset. Not backing away from the bullishness of the ecosystem. Then yesterday, big day. I had Money Game Crypto on here. We talked about the dive movements and otherwise. February 28th, 3 tweets in a row, 240K Bitcoin. Some people call it a call, speculation. He put a question mark there. He named a price, whatever you want to call it. But now he's talking about a huge number. If you're not aware, Bitcoin is, around 60K plus or minus right now. I haven't checked up to the minute, but it is not this number. So sounds interesting. I mean, anything on this one too, because I've asked some people like, what about this Bitcoin tweet in particular before we move on? Is there anything that strikes you as, interesting more than just the price? Either one of you?
Well, yeah, I mean, go ahead, Axis.
Well, I think it's an inflection point where, who is better to talk about a massive change in the setup of something so big about Bitcoin as Richard Hart. Like, he's probably the only person that you really need to listen to on bullish price targets. Like, his track record is flawless. And so, I wouldn't have been comfortable calling this kind of a number on Bitcoin for the future. Like, I was comfortable between 120 and 140K in like a best case scenario. And then just after watching the action the last few weeks on the ETF, obviously that became more clear that was going to be a decent range to potentially hit. But I never would have came out and doubled that, almost, at least add 100 grand, like, to that number, to 241,500. Like, that's a pretty specific number, first of all. And look, I'm proud to admit that, I called the triple bottom on the bear market for the S&P 500, and that's public, and it's on Twitter, and I retweeted it out just a couple days ago. But I wasn't comfortable calling $241,000 Bitcoin. It's because he's seeing, and he's doing this because he's seeing how big this is going to be, and it goes back to some analysis that we've been doing on some public streams, some private streams, about this Bitcoin cycle looking a lot more like the 2015 through 2017 bull market cycle, and not so much like the last few years of data. Like the 2017 blow off top on Bitcoin and the subsequent ABC correction in price over multiple years, and then the straight up vertical rally with on all of the leverage in the system and the bad actors, and then the double top. All of that was shaking out all of the bad money in cryptocurrency, I think, and all that's now kind of consolidated and shook out, and now the money's getting handed over to, and the Bitcoins mainly, and potentially Ether and others are getting handed over now to institutions, and which is going to stabilize the system a lot more, which has been my fear for years of basically institutions getting all the coins and then squeezing the volatility out of it. And but I think it's so early in terms of institutional adoption and global percentage of people in crypto that I got that wrong a little bit, and that this cycle could actually be amazing. And this is the validation that I needed, that this is actually going to potentially line up to be the super cycle that we got cheated out of in the last cycle.
Yeah, that's pretty astute, observation. I looked at these numbers, I see that, and I said, what's just a 4x from where we are now, right, in Bitcoin terms? So, and there's you're exactly right. Richard's seen the bigger picture because he's really paying attention to the overall global markets and how Bitcoin is going to be utilized by the institutions. And we've always said when institutions come in, that's when things are really going to kick off. That's always been the narrative. And we're seeing this and play out in front of our eyes. So it's kind of interesting to be here watching it in real time. And so I look at this and I say, well, if Bitcoin's going to go up, that means all the bond liquidity that Bitcoin has will pull everything else up with it across the board. So even the sorriest meme token is going to go up in value because it's bonded to Bitcoin somehow, or Ethereum. Ethereum will go up. Maybe Ethereum is 20. If Bitcoin goes 241, what does it do to Ethereum? Does it go to 20,000? I don't know. I mean, it might. Who knows? But what's the fees going to be like on Ethereum? Are you going to want to pay a half ETH to do into HEX stake? That's 10 grand. And so that there's some reality of the issues we come to grips with if Ethereum does a trend with Bitcoin with this bond liquidity. So Hart's law is in play. We all know it. We all understand it, and it'll play across the markets. And so I don't know what the new next low is going to be. Maybe Bitcoin bottoms out at maybe 60 or 80K is a new bottom for Bitcoin on the next bear. Who knows? It depends on how much institutional money comes in and supports the system, and then what the governments do, with their allocations, and got laws and everything else happening in the world too. So I'm sure they'll play a part into the cycle as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like all that. And I mean, to the comment about bear market lows, I think the number that I wanted to see already that we haven't seen yet was like a retest of 35K. So, but I'm pretty sure that if we hit 240K, 35K is out of the question. So like it really everything's kind of changed up now for me personally, because I mean, if we only went to 80K and we had, the dull cycle like some people are calling for, yeah, 35K retest on the next bear market lows is obvious, right? Because we just need to go test that market structure. But because of the supply shortage, and like you're saying, that reinvestment and upholding of the value that's been accrued here, something that you can't ignore that possibility. Now, I also have another thought about Bitcoin is Bitcoin not, by its bonded liquidity and by its very existence and presence in the global markets, not pulling up the entire world economy with it? It sounds crazy, but if this whole entire crypto market cap could be set for $8 to $16 trillion a cycle, is it not effectively being a better store of value than a lot of other methods of value storage across the globe? Or is it not at least going to impact the flow of money in a big way? Because it's basically redistributing economic energy from the old world to the new world. And what I mean by that is, like, assume you live in Argentina and your currency is like going to zero every day, but you could plug in a Bitcoin miner on your electrical grid and earn a year's wage in just like a quarter, 3 months. You could earn a whole year's wage in your native currency because you have one Bitcoin miner that might cost like a couple $100 because it's like a last cycle miner. Like, getting your hands on that, and it's what it's doing is it's re-enabling other parts of the world to come online, and it's being bootstrapped by the power of Bitcoin. So it's a really big idea when you really break out and you look at everything and what's actually happening here. And that's why in my tweet yesterday, I was like, just remember who was here and who's still on the mission, and just remember who was here for the wrong reasons, and listen to the people that are actually, that care more than just about the number on the screen. Because I know we all want to make mad gains, obviously, hello, But I didn't get on this computer every day to get rich. If I wanted to get rich for myself, like I didn't need to do any of that. Like this was all going to happen anyway. But I'd rather get the message out there, and just be a source of change in the world, man. It's this is literally the battlegrounds of a 30+ year culmination, an effort, a battle plan executing out, where cypherpunks and technologists of the 70s and 80s are finally seeing a potential here for a globalized, decentralized currency model that can completely shake up the entire economics of the entire world.
Well, that's why they're fighting it, though. That's what the centralized exchange is all banning things. They can't stand, the people having control of their own money and monetary policy. They can't stand it. I mean, but El Salvador, they're in good shape right now, right? They bought a whole bunch of that Bitcoin bottom down when it was, 20, 25K. And so they're doing really well, right? I mean, so that's pretty forward thinking, And all the people who kind of during the bear cycle, like, oh no, this is terrible. Now they're like, well, this is actually pretty good. We just 3x all our gains. And where can you 3x your money as a country? You think about it without having to sell anything. Their GDP just went up 3x. Look at that.
Crazy, man.
Right? I mean, that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency solved it for them. So I would think other countries might say, you know what, that was a pretty good idea. I might try that as well, because that's pretty shrewd.
Argentina guy seems to like Bitcoin, or you at least used to. Yeah, there's something to be said too, just for not only again, I wish everyone out there the maddest gains, and I think that if I can do it in a way that can not only I can give myself an edge, but I can help scale that edge and help give people good information and all that stuff too, and help them realize their dreams. That's much more satisfying than just Scrooge McDucking it. Like, oh yeah, I got rich, I rug pulled some token or whatever, or I didn't really help anyone, but well, good luck. The zero sum status. I try to avoid that, and I think you can totally do it in this ecosystem. There's a lot of ways to do it, and I first started streaming because HEX had given me so much already. Like I'd benefited in so many ways from from Richard and HEX and otherwise, and I'm like, I want to give back. PulseChain's coming, all this stuff. I want to have utility. I want to do more than just like hang out and watch streams and stuff. I want to be part of that greatest ecosystem on earth. So it's a great opportunity for people. Again, if you're new here, still green pastures. We haven't done everything yet. Trust me.
I'm gonna go and retweet this. This is a good tweet, man.
Thank you. There you go. Trying to provide value. There you go. Trying to demonstrate. See, I can do it on Twitter, and I can take the tweets and put them on the stream. Boom, boom. February 28th, continuing here. Bottom calls are hard. I'm pretty much summarizing these. Bottom calls are hard. Also check out these timestamps. Plus, best way to predict the future is to build it. This is a pretty cool one. It's got a couple things in it. You don't usually see him. I don't know what the word for this is. Not apologize. He's just not brag. He's bragging in a way, but he's saying, who else is? I mean, there's other tweets to back this up. Like, who else called the bottom? Who else did this? Like, who's great at bottom calls? I'm great at top calls. Who's good at bottom calls? And also at Axis point, I think you mentioned earlier, Bitcoin isn't at all new all-time highs yet, and neither are the coins I founded. So many little messages, little things. It's okay. How many smiley faces have you seen Richard put in tweets? I don't see a lot of smiley faces in his tweets. That was alarming to me. He put a smiley face. What does that mean? I like that. And then the best way to predict the future is to build it. Again, in hindsight, it's all little clues here, little clues. I called Money Gang or somebody said in the chat the detective, the detective of detective. We're being the RH detectives right now. In hindsight, it's always 2020. So yeah, this is that was an interesting one. And then Bears Erect, the third one, top off the yesterday's February 28th. Oops, did I post the same link? Yeah, I might have posted the shoot, my bad. All right, let me just go to his Twitter real quick. He's already gained 20K follow, not 20K, but 200 followers since I checked this morning, by the way. He was at 39 something, and now he's at over 340. Let's see, where's the Bears Erect one? Because that was a good one too. Bear with me. There we go. So Bears Erect beyond all belief. Doesn't mean there's not dips in the game, but there still is. Bear hopes. basically, the biggest thing I think in hindsight is like bears are wrecked, which if you take the opposite of that, bulls are going to do well, hopefully, if you were to reverse that. No crystal ball, hope the last bear. He talks about this. And then another smiley face. Look at the second smiley face. There's 2 smiley faces now. Welcome to volatility. Only to the upside recently. Haha. Will that continue, Richard? Will that continue? And then the last one. The one this morning. The one that set the ecosystem on fire. It feels like everything else is flying up while PulseX, PulseChain, and HEX are just sitting there. Have you ever considered selling? If something makes you feel bad, makes you want to complain, maybe just be done with it. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, man. Oh, Greg the Duck. Oh, man.
He was trolling hard. I saw that like, yeah, he's fixing to move. And that was the same time we saw the DAI transfer too, about the same time. So if you were watching the wallets, you saw what was fixing to happen. So it was, yeah, he was laying out breadcrumbs for everybody. If you pay attention to what Richard does, it's really not that complicated. He's pretty transparent when he's ready to do something.
2 smiley faces and then daring you to leave. Mm-hmm. Boy, that math adds up in hindsight. Love it. So, yeah, and then I love it. I love maybe done with us. I started saying maybe done with it is the new how's everybody doing today? Because right after that, massive pump, and I'll just give a preview. I'm sure Axis is going to have some amazing charts on this, but look at this. Oh, I'm on 7 days, 24 hours. Wow. I just got 6 hours, not as impressive. All right, don't look at that. 24 hours. Just green. Pretty cool. And yeah, hopefully we'll have some, there'll be some more. I mean, if we would have looked at it this morning, it would have been a lot more impressive on the short term, but boy, just green right after that.
We'll just have to look at it we'll have to look at the daily close later today and see where we end up. But yeah, I mean, it's right in the cut there. I wouldn't be surprised to see us close above 1560. Some level I'd like to see us close above. Be super bullish.
I also saw I want to get into the resistance too, because I heard some talk about that. We broke through 1 and the next one is at 2 something, I believe. But real quick, just to wrap up this, just for fun, bonus tweet. After all that happened, things are up 20%, 30%, 40% today. I thought you guys wanted to sell. I thought you wanted to click sell. This guy. Guy. Fearless leader. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Well, how much did all the DAI that was transferred over, how much was deployed? I don't know off the top of my head. I've been busy all day.
1.2 million is the last I heard, so not much.
Out of what, 10, 12? What was the total? I can't remember.
I think there's over 20 is bridged in now, but I could be wrong.
Well, so basically 10 to 1/10 or 1/20 of it.
Tiny amount has been deployed.
Yeah. So this is just the beginning, and that's not even including what else is in the war chest, right? From SAC funds, not to mention the daily yield from the MakerDAO deposits from that from the 7% yield on that, which can be deployed at any given time. So yeah, it's a good place to be if you're a PulseChain guy.
Amazing. Yeah, should we go into TA, go into charts? Go into the dying questions. What do you guys want to do?
I'm okay with that. I wanted to get a little bit of a take on liquid loans maybe before we got into the TA.
Let's do it.
What was going on over there this morning? I noticed there was some redemptions coming through. So maybe Neil would have some insight into that.
Yeah. No, I'm not part of the team. Nothing. I just like everybody else. I SAC'd for liquid loans. I use the tools, but I saw some people got redeemed against, get liquidated at 500% level. And I know they came out and said that, the way the redemption mechanism works, it's you always have to have people in front of you. And I don't want to FUD or anything. I don't know all the technicals why, but I personally am a little concerned that the fact that if you're sitting at 500% collateralization rate and you still get your vault liquidated, that you're there's something else that may need to be addressed. And I hope the team would come up to the public and address some of these things. Maybe I know they did some videos and explain how it works, but at the end of the day, on the original video that CC put out, he said that he thought it was comfortable with 200 to 300%, and it's obviously not the case. And then they later came and tried to correct that, which is good. But at the same time, why does it keep ratcheting up? That'd be my question, to the liquid loans team. I wish they would come out and explain.
So I think I have it figured out. We went in on a team call today, and we were like trying to figure out what was going on, because at first I was like, price is going up and we're all getting redeemed. I was like, why is that happening? And so then I started just talking, and it kind of dawned on me what was occurring. So like you see that TCR number is at 580%. Well, that's like you could consider that like the global average. So basically, if you're not over the global average, you're first in line to get redeemed against. So that DIF, debt in front, is like however many millions of dollars sits in front of you before you get redeemed on. And I remember very vividly that there was like $17 million debt in front on my position today. So I was like, well, that should be safe. But the TCR was under normal. It was like 520, 530 range. So because I was under the global average, and it did that debt in front, it cut through all that, because for whatever case, the people were getting redeemed. And so I thought about the process and like kind of what's going on there. And what I was able to deduce down was, think about when you set a liquidity position in the stablecoin Pulse farms, for example. You're putting up some stable coins, you're putting up some Pulse. If Pulse goes up in value, you're losing those Pulse tokens to impermanent loss. But you're getting the stablecoin value. You're not losing the value. You're just getting your Pulse converted into USD or into DAI, USDT, or USDC. And in reward for that, you're getting ink for putting that in that farm. So that's like the incentive that's there to keep you to deal with the impermanent loss that you face. Now, when it comes to these liquid loans vaults, you can think of the redemption feature like the same process of you getting impermanent loss, but instead of you getting stable coins in your place, you're just removing existing debt on your vault. So like they're taking your Pulse at higher and higher prices, means you're losing less and less units of Pulse over time to pay off your debt. It's the same thing, but seen in reverse. So you're not getting stablecoin value, but you're reducing your debt load. So it's like impermanent loss, but in the way that, but it's benefiting you because you're don't have so much debt, but you are losing Pulse. But if the price of Pulse is rising, you're going to lose less units over time is if you get redeemed on consecutively. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, that makes sense. And just that the problem is, but the mechanism of the redemption mechanism was supposed to be a tool to maintain PEG, right? That was the whole purpose of it. And then they ratchet up the redemption fees to keep people from just overdoing it, right? Because it becomes cost prohibitive. Mm-hmm. But when you look at how the narrative was in the beginning, before, even after launch, that the whole point of the CR was, if you had a high enough CR, it was always to protect you when the price of Pulse goes down, never up. That was a whole narrative. And I did video after video on this, explaining how all this works, what the whole point was, came from directly from their stuff. But now it seems that if the price of Pulse goes up, you still have that chance of being liquidated. So it's like, well, which is where are you going to be? And that's what concerns me. I would hope the team comes out and really lays out some good explainers like, look, this is the best place. I think they've pretty much said it. You need to be above the global average, as well as being in front of the debt in volume. But it don't take a whole lot of whales to do this. So we drop from PEG, and whales come in and redo that redemption. If they have enough cash, it don't matter how much the redemption fee is, they'll still make out, and you're going to liquidate a lot more vaults. So my question to them, to Liquid Loans team, I wish you would answer this, is when is it going to stop? At what point will the percentage level out? And I don't know that answer because I don't know, but I hope they would address that, because I want to see them succeed. I want to see everybody who uses the product, keep using it, because it's a good tool. But these are things that they're just going to address, to their users.
Yeah, and so the issue I'm seeing with the protocol right now, being critical of it, is if you look at the loan token price, that's supposed to be the reward mechanism to get people to start vaults, get the USDL, and put the USDL in the stability pool to help bootstrap the system and strengthen the PEG. But the problem is that I'm seeing is people are just auto dumping the loan token, and it's pushing the price of loan down against PLS. So it's like a death spiral in that it's reinforcing that type of behavior, so that people continually dump their loan yield for more Pulse. And what you're having is the biggest vaults just keep dumping the loan, the ones getting all of the yield, for Pulse, and then they're growing their vault sizes, which is increasing the global average for the few, but it's not helping out all the other guys that have started vaults that thought they were in a good position that are getting redeemed against.
Exactly.
And so what you have is you have this situation where, like, where's my incentive to come into the system and open a vault and then go take the USDL and do anything else besides put it in the stability pools and dump the loan to protect my vault? Because that's the game right now. And you're going to need a pump on US. You're going to need a pump on the loan token to get that back up, and you're going to need to get these bigger players in the system to stop dumping it for Pulse, so that you stop this situation happening where the TCR, the global average, just goes up forever, right? Where is it going to stop? Because here's the alternative: is all these other guys are just going to close their vaults and move on and go find better yield in ink farms with less risk. Because in a bull market where ink's going to overperform Pulse and these other things, why wouldn't I just go over there where it's more of a guaranteed gain? If I put my ink up against Pulse or ink up against PulseX, and I suffer impermanent loss, so sad. I got more Pulse or PulseX, and I'm earning ink to replace the ink I'm losing. It's like, why wouldn't I go do that instead of this?
Exactly.
So I'm getting screwed.
That's 100%, 100%. And I tell you, well, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I don't like being argumentative or anything, but I'm going to say this, that in hindsight, being 2020, that the money that was raised for liquid loans and how they did the sacrifice was just too much for what was distributed as far as loan token goes and rewards. And I don't think they really thought it through when they didn't have a cap in there. And then maybe they couldn't have even imagined they would have had that much interest. And so the loan token is a problem. It's too much. It's too many. In the 2 years, 18 months from now, whatever it is, when the other half is released to the market, what's going to happen to the price of loan then? I mean, it's going to go even further down, because how are you going to correct the spiral that you just said, that reinforced death spiral of the price, but people just getting more pulse with this loan and dumping and dumping and dumping it. Then you double the amount that's going to hit the market in 18 months. What are those people going to think? Not only are they going to be way below SAC, they're going to make it even worse. So I don't know what the future is going to hold and how they're going to do that. But if it was me and I was sitting in the position of liquid loans, I would say, you know what? I raised a lot of money, and I know they didn't use all that capital to develop this protocol. I would take those funds, I would put it into the system in some way to earn yield, take that yield and try to help support my users and the people who believe in me in some form or fashion, whether it's buying a burning loan or whatever. I don't know. But that's what they need to do, or something like that, because I know they need development costs. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the money that's unused, unnecessary for that project can be used for the benefit of the people who believed in them. And that's what needs to happen.
Does the PLS price going up, does that help the situation or help the overall health?
Well, obviously not. So people get redeemed against at 500%.
Well, it slows down the ability for the big vault holders to continue to gain at the same rate against everybody else, and increase that global average, because the disparity between what the loan can get you in Pulse terms is going down over time. So you just can't get enough, I guess, on a long enough time frame, minus 99% loan against Pulse. Like, you just can't get enough Pulse to put it in the vault to make it meaningful. But that kind of kills. I mean, it doesn't kill loan, but it slows down the problem, I guess. So then, yeah,
it also locks out people who would want to participate, because now they're like, well, I have to have even more Pulse to participate because I got to worry about the CR. So it's like, well, if they come in now above SAC rate today or next week or next month or whatever, they want to participate, how much more Pulse would they have to have, right, to make it be safe? And what CR is safe? Because what if the next time this happens, we have a next pump and 600% is the next liquidation event, or 700? Where does it stop? And that's what I would like to see the team address. It's like, how are they going to keep this from ratcheting up over time, or will it come to a natural plateau at whatever it's going to be?
It could, because people might even the biggest players in the system may decide that the loan yield is so pathetic at that point that they're gonna stop a little bit, or they're gonna withdraw some Pulse and not have these massive collateral ratios potentially, because they're capital.
But the thing is, the loan they're getting is not the issue. It's the fact that when it goes below peg, they're redeeming and getting $1 worth of Pulse. So that spread is what they're making their money on, right? And so that's where they're manipulating. Not manipulating. It's using the system for what it's doing to keep peg. and they're causing the liquidation events to happen at higher and higher collateral rates because they have so much pulse to push the price. That's my concern. Like, at what point can this thing plateau? And I hope the team would come on and say, hey, look, this is our solution. This is what we will have as a solution, and go from there. I mean, because I want everybody to succeed. I really want this protocol to kickstart and have give us an awesome place to to borrow against. But who wants to put their pulse at risk?
Yeah, it is. I mean, just look at the numbers here. It is a huge part of the ecosystem, locking up over $1 trillion PLS. I mean, very successful as far as that goes. And yeah, hopefully wherever liquidations are happening, and hopefully
I suppose
sure
maybe the ceiling price might actually be like to the point where there's like, okay, how much more trillions of pulse can actually get locked up in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
there's only like 11 trillion user supply, I think, roughly. I don't know, somewhere around there. And I'm pretty sure it's not all going to end up in liquid loans. So,
how about those Gophers, huh? Thank you, Exhibitionist, for the great segue into the TA side, and some happy candles. My favorite color, candles. You guessed it, it's green.
Well, suppose we could look at some charts if you want.
Is that what you do from time to time, Axis? You do the chart thing? You charter? Is that what they call it? Charters?
Probably too much, honestly. But it's
like
fun.
a boat occupation, charter. It's chartist.
We're getting a decent rejection here off of fresh air. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. So you can see here how this setup actually kind of played out. It's textbook. So much good in this chart. This is a 4-hour pulse chart. This is pulse measured against the dollar, or in this case, DAI. This is the channel I have built, and look at how pulse price has respected this midline of this channel, like on so many occasions throughout here. There was this one fake out, respected it, and then this was like probably the end of the bear sentiment here, but these were protected. Again, fake out number 1, fake out number 2, but in generally here, this trend here, that middle line is being respected. It was respected here for quite a little bit of a battle. And then we flipped that as support, and it was support. And then we just ripped off that level today for four times the support. And then down here in the MACD, actually, we had a similar setup before where we built this big pennant pattern, which, you got this basically this ping pong action that came in here. The MACD bounced around and then broke out, retested, and then that began the end of the sideways movements on the price chart. Right down here, but the difference this time was we got the same type of setup. This is where Richard basically comes out and publicly fights the SEC, and you start seeing movements over to the bridge. That's what. So we're going to avoid this section. I think, no guarantees, but I think we'll avoid at least half the amount of time that we spend in here. But we got the same ping ponging in this kind of pennant pattern, and then the breakout today. So, but if it plays out just like last time, MACD will roll over, come down, test this as support, and then we'll kind of just work our way up and out from there. But so this was all foreshadowing of like the pulse price inside of a pressure cooker, just getting ready to explode, right? And so we got the break today. We got a lot of foreshadowing through Twitter, through words, and also in the technicals here. And then in addition here, the RSI has held like perfectly. Since the lows from the SEC crash to the final low here before we made the big rip, and then we just almost tapped it here again for a third time. So technically everything's super sound, and the chart structure is like gold right now, So any comments on that or thoughts?
I just see the comments asking where the Rackham candles are. Where the DAI candles and the Rackham candles, is that?
Let's just maybe go with what's happened in the last 24 hours, because I won't waste our time going back in time. But I honestly don't know. I'm assuming this was one of them here, and it's not Rackham, by the way. It's not Rackham that's doing the dumping. This has kind of come out now. It's his partners with Overwatch partners. There's guys in there that want out or are selling or whatever they're doing. So it's actually not Rackham. that's selling allegedly.
Good clarification.
And because I don't have proof, but that makes sense to me. There was a lot of people that sacrificed through his pool, so it makes sense to me that it could be not just him that would be dumping, right? So, but overall, price looks super healthy. On Pulse here, we're basically at that level here on the daily that we need to break above and hold, which would be resistance, and we need to basically get above here, close above, and then we could go sideways. But typically how these happen is you'll wake up tomorrow and it'll either fill the wick or it'll create a doji, and then the day after it's going to go up and like all the way up in here and test the upper band here of this channel. It's just this kind of a forceful move in the market with this kind of volume. You can't ignore that. Last time we had one was here. So, we'll close this candle today, probably green in the volume. And then last time we had a similar thing. We had a couple red days, but chances are it's going to hold. And this thing's going to go higher. I would say based on the trajectory we're on currently, we could be seeing like all-time highs within 2 weeks, probably sooner.
So you calculate Richard's infusion of capital like in your math? Is that how you're doing it, or are you talking about just organic growth through the people's interaction?
Well, if the OA only allocated 1.2 million and that resulted in like a 23% move on the wick and it closes here at plus 15%, but yet the volume here candle is $14.332 million traded, we could assume that 60% to 70% of that was green volume. Like you're looking at, he only influenced like 1/6 to 1/8 of that move. And that's how this happened last time too, is, those comments come through and the OA makes a move and buys, but it's the market that takes it higher. Mm-hmm. So he just shoots off the flare and all the money that follows is the market. So it's kind of cool. If 1.2 million equals that, but the kind of ammunition that the SAC wallet has, I'm just basically saying that how I get that level is I just taken a bars pattern from that volume candle there to there, equalizing it, and then running that to the edge. I mean, it just takes you direct. It just takes you right to all-time high. It's like mathematical perfection.
Yeah.
In terms,
he did the same thing with HEX early on, so we know Richard knows how to do the thing. So it's just, he's the same guy. He's not going to reinvent the wheel. If it works, right?
Yep. And so he's broken down the math before, and I mean, I created a coin that did 2 billion X against Pulse, so it's like I know how these things work, and he's talked about it at length about how the price moves as a function of a square. It gets difficult to calculate the downstream effects of a price movement from just one market buy when you consider all of the pairs that's connected together now, because Pulse's liquidity is so deep across so many pairs. But if you could just break it down simply to one pair, Pulse versus DAI, and just look here at, there's $15 million of DAI paired against $15 million of Pulse. If you add $15 million, it's going to 4x the price. When you double one side, you have the other 4x the price. So that's how the math breaks down. Mm-hmm. So you saw today we had a $15 million or $14.3 million of volume, and that resulted in 23% move, 23% move ish. And the reason why that didn't work out because that wasn't all buy volume, and there was sells that came in, and there's multiple pools with hundreds of pools with different liquidity setups. But generally that's how the math works out. So, someone out there's probably taking the time to measure all that, but it doesn't matter in the end, because basically that's why it's more fun to track geometry, is because the geometry will actually lead you there and you don't have to do all the extra work. It's just going to play out because you got the same users, same actors, except you're adding more attention. So like the more we live in an attention economy, the more attention that comes to the chart, the higher it goes, the more momentum, the more attention, and all the indicators are saying that. That's why this RSI is up here at 60 and not down here at 41, because it's showing you the relative strength of the market over time. Same with the MACD. It's like it's showing you that we haven't even crossed bullish here on the MACD yet on the daily. So like we haven't even seen the move. That was just the breakout candle to kind of absorb supply at that level, which creates a scarcity event, a shakeup, and then the new attention, the new funds flowing in will basically, you can extrapolate out what happened last time when we got a bull cross. So you could look here to this area, this area, this area. Anytime you get the blue line to cross above the orange line is a potential setup for another. So you'd look for like lines of confluence in this data, because like obviously not all these bull crosses were made the same. This one here was not the same move as this one here, obviously, right? You can tell by the slope of the blue line is not as sharp here as it is here. And so then what you need to do is you need to go a little bit deeper on different indicators and try to find confluence between data sets. That's what we do through the website and through my membership, and we teach people how to like read these things. It's pretty cool.
So when are we going to get rich?
Oh wait, you're not yet?
Did you not cover that? I didn't say I wasn't, but
okay.
I think in the chat I see, millionaires, multi-millionaires.
I figured Max here has been buying the bottom on everything for 3.5 years.
I don't talk about my bags, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm not broke, not crypto broke. Is there? You say crypto rich? No, I guess the opposite would be crypto broke. No.
Here's a question before I get to that. Are you terrified of selling? Like, I know I am. Like, I'm fucking terrified to sell. Like, I don't want to sell.
It's a good question. Like terrified to sell at the wrong, like timing the market, like selling too early.
Yeah, no, like today. Like, are you terrified of the thought of selling? Like, selling here like actually scares the shit out of me. It's like I
haven't thought about selling at all because it's not that time in my mind. But
right, but suspend all of that for a second and say, like, someone had to put a gun to your head. Would you be pretty upset if somebody forced you to sell here? I mean, the answer is yes. Obviously, I would assume.
Yeah. I don't want any part of that situation. That sounds really terrible.
Yeah, no shit.
But here's my question.
Not financial advice, but to me personally, it sounds horrible.
I look at DeFi as a tool, so I'm like, why would I ever sell my bags? I'm gonna grow my bags, so I'm gonna use the growth of the bags and use the bag growth as a tool to earn more yield, maybe in other things. Maybe I'll go ink farm or whatever, right? So I can always hold my two blue chip tokens to earn me more money. That's how I look at things. I mean, if you can acquire enough of the asset, the yield from the asset as it's used within the DeFi space can generate enough money. You don't ever have to sell your principal.
Let's cover that real quick too. I think that's interesting because me and Neil did a whole stream on how to, retiring, how to sell and not sell, and all this stuff. How to cash out in crypto, and yield was a big part of that. Is there a way to actually, using the DeFi products? We got some here now, we got some coming, all that stuff. Whether it's farming for yield or loans or whatever else comes around, is there a way to literally keep all your money in crypto, or majority of it, or percentage of it, or whatever you decide, and just not have to touch the market other than to maybe sell your yield or do things with that? I think if we could touch on that for a minute, I think it'd be great.
What do you think, Axis? I've already answered this before. What do you think?
Couple thoughts on that. Number one is that I don't want to take real world debt anymore. Like I got out of the rat race. I don't want to go back into the rat race. I guess if I was going to go back into the rat race and take on traditional debt in the real world, I would want to make sure that my crypto yield is outpacing that by a factor of like 3 to 1 or more, so that I'm making money in crypto still and able to pay off the debt. And I don't want other fail safes in place as well to make sure that because I don't want to go back into that world. I got out of debt. Like I sold my Bitcoin mine in 2021 in May, and I don't want to go back to that situation. So the only way forward for me is harnessing passive income through HEX staking, potentially ink farms for periods of the cycle, validating with Pulse validators. Those are the main 3 pillars of yield. And this is going to be like the center of my talk in Vegas next week, March 9th on Friday. In the afternoon, I'll be talking about the 3 pillars of passive income on PulseChain and how powerful they are, and especially at this phase in the cycle. And I think that people that are worried about selling, they're a brokey mindset, and I don't really care for that personally. if you have debt that you need to get rid of and you have school bills that you need to pay, car bills, you should be doing everything you can to keep crypto in right now and to use your real world job to earn an income, to avoid having to sell early and just let this thing grow into this massive balloon of economic energy. And then when we get to the end of the cycle, that's the time to look at taking some off the table. But we're not anywhere near that yet. And I know it's hard for people to distinguish when is the top, where are we in the cycle right now. That's very hard to do, which is why I offer the services I do personally. And I'm not alone. And a lot of us are out here. We've been out here for 3 and 4 years, spreading free information out there for people so that they don't wreck themselves and they can utilize these tools to the maximum capacity. And this goes back to the original conversation about crypto shaking up the entire economic landscape, and crypto as a tool to not need to go back into dollars and just to be able to outpace the debasement of dollars and inflation because of the mad gains and because of the high yields that you can get from something as rock solid as the RH coins.
Excellent framing. Yeah. I mean, I think there's 2 different parts to this too. It's, you have the mindset piece, which is extremely important. And you have the, tactics, the strategies, the pieces where you execute and stuff. And again, me and Neil covered a lot of that on, I forget what it's called. Was it called retirement or, oh man, what was that stream called?
They all kind of run together now, but making money in crypto, retirement crypto, and all, we talked about several different options that are available. But it's all about the mindset. That's it.
Yeah. I was going to say go real DeFi. You can go to, I'm pretty sure it's, I don't have making money on this one, but if you go to onboarding, again, if you're new here, click onboarding. They'll take you to the 1,000 videos or 37 that are on the channel. Let me quickly find the making money one, because I think it's a very important series. Axis was on the series. Sloth was on the series. Neil, of course, is on the series. Where are we at? Making money crypto. Yeah, this one. Extremely important one. I may have to add this onto the website at some point. But if you're new, you don't know much about the ecosystem otherwise, this goes through the different ways: farming, staking, LP, buying, selling, leverage, all the different ways to do it, all the different nuances and stuff. What was the name of this stream? I mean, I clipped it. So the clipped his name is 100x crypto enough to retire you in 2020. That must be it. Yeah. Is 100x crypto enough to retire you in 2024, 2025?
By the way, I think let's clarify for everybody. When we say retire, we don't mean like quit at life. We just mean that switch your focus and energy on something you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. I think that's, you want to go die early and live a fruitless life, go retire and literally kick your feet up and literally do nothing with your life. And just extract. We had enough of that in HEX's first bull cycle. A lot of the wrong people got rich on HEX. We've weeded a lot of that out. And now it's like the bar has been raised. Now the cost to get into HEX is a lot more to be a shark or a whale. You're just not going to be able to catch up to those guys because they locked in their T-shares so long ago. And so if it's okay with you guys, I think we should go into the complexities and the depths of HEX staking for anyone new. And because there's people in the chat right now talking about how HEX is, useless kind of. And it's just so misunderstood. I think, there's so many different ways to view the T-share mechanism. There's so many different ways to use it to your benefit. There's so many different elements that have come online over the past 2 years that people aren't even thinking about, such as COM. Like, did you know that if you stake $1,000 right now for 15 years, you can get $150 back in COM? You probably didn't know that because it's new. It's happening. And the best part is like COM can go up in value too. So that COM that you get back, $150 of it, it could turn into $500. It could be half the value of that 15-year stake. Well, imagine you just set one 15-year stake out there every year for the next 15 years, and you got your money back on your rebate from your COM, so you got some of the value back at least. And then you get to 15 years down the road, and you're like 20 years old, now you're 35, and you have a 15-year stake coming off every year, and HEX is above $1. Like, you got it at a penny, and then you just staked some out every year, and then you have a perpetual 15-year like ladder coming off. Like, there's one way to play the game. It's super powerful when you're looking at those longer term stakes. It's not juicy because it's not paying what the ink farms are today. You're not looking at, retirement next year or in 18 months or whatever with a 15-year HEX stake, but you should have eggs in different baskets anyhow. So I think it's a hedge against any screw ups you might have during this market cycle.
Definitely. Well, it's funny too. Even RH said that a long time ago that he thinks people, even if they're staked and they've already made their money in HEX, should keep working. He was like, look, you just don't want to quit. Keep working. Contribute to society. Do something. May change your job, but at least don't be a bum. Do something, because you're exactly right. You just cannot waste away, because you'll die early.
There's so many stories of these guys from the last cycle that pulled out 10, 20, $30 million out of HEX, and they're broke now. They lost everything. Like, for one way or the other, they screwed everything up, and now they're going to have to watch in pain as this thing goes up without them. You're basically resetting the entire chart from back here all over again. Minus 99%, 10,000x. Well, here we are, minus 99%. Well, is it going to do crazy numbers? I would argue, yeah. I would say, yeah, it's gonna do it. Let's look at the fib once. Let's just look at the fib, because that'll be fun. Perfect. Textbook retracement back to the 618. It's right here. This is a harmonic level. You see the Fibonacci sequence play out in nature all the time, and it's no different for human psychology, and it's no different for markets, which are a function of human psychology. This thing ran up like crazy, and then it came back down, and when HEX launched, it was like somewhere up in here, and it went down minus 99%, but you can't see that data because it happened right at launch in an exchange called Bidesk. We don't have that data on this chart, but that's what happened. And so you're just replaying that out on a longer time frame with many more users this time. And so when you really look at this thing, we're somewhere in this general range down in here. We haven't even broken out of this ascending triangle structure yet. And so, like, I think when it comes to HEX staking, there's two camps. I see HEX as like it's a dual value proposition. You should either be thinking, I have a lot of money, I can put a lot of money in HEX and stake it for 30 to 90 days and roll it and earn that 9% APY and have that opportunity cost to buy and sell and trade on a very regular basis and actively manage that position. Or there's the other end of it completely, which is like the 401k for the future, which is retail guys that want to bring in money and outpace the other guys with inflation and no stress. And just to have that perpetual 15-year stakes coming off when the price of this thing goes up here, and we're trading at like multi-dollar targets at this bull cycle, and then we bottom out next cycle at potentially, 30 cents, 50 cents. Like, it's going to be a lot different, right? The yield you'll get on a rolling stake at 20, 30, 40 cents is a lot. It's 40x higher than the yield you're getting today in dollar terms. And why is this possible? Well, it's possible because green candles are a motherfucker, and it makes people come in and play with the system and trade it and chase it. And as Metcalfe's law takes hold, and you go from 130,000 stakers to potentially 1.3 million stakers, a 10x in users means 100x the price. I think 10 times 10, yeah. So 100x the price if you just get a million stakers. So 100x right now, that's $1, right? So it's powerful. It's powerful, the potential here for this thing to not only just do well for you in the short term, but long term give you a position you'll never be able to get again. It's like the early days of Bitcoin. You can't go back and buy Bitcoin at $1 or $10 or $100 or $1,000. You have to buy it at above like $30,000 now forever. Like, it's not going any lower. So you might as well secure your positions now,
I love HEX. I think it's definitely every opportunity I can. I think it's where PulseChain, came and PulseX and all the products and yield farms and all this ecosystem has grown so much. It does tend to get forgotten, but it is the king. It's the best product. It's my favorite, and I'm glad we have an ecosystem for it to thrive in, and the liquidity bonding. Hopefully, man, there's some glory days that could be had there with that, man. Regardless of, yeah, we could go in a million different directions with T-shares and otherwise, but HEX. Did you you said price target for HEX the other day? I can't remember. I thought you tweeted something interesting about that.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me pull some stuff up. I just have some charts. It's moon math, guys. It's not reality. Doesn't have to be reality. It really depends on how good you guys are at onboarding the next 10 million users into HEX, honestly. But if we're successful in that, and HEX just plays out just like the second cycle of Bitcoin, we could be seeing $8 EHEX potentially combined price sometime by this would be EHEX, $8 by May of 2026. Just repeating the same fractal at the same rate. The first 15-year stakes would be coming off here on this yellow line. Let me get my drawings up. Aw, that broke. I don't know why that broke. This would be the 15-year stakes, and it's projecting a price of between $150 to $300 a hex by 2035. If it's even just $1.60, that's 160x higher, and you earned anywhere from 5 to 600% APY. So you have 5 or 6 times the coins at 160x. So 160 times 5 is, or $1.60. $1.60 times 5. Or no, I was right. 800x. You could have an 800x if you have a 15-year ladder and we're at $1.60. Nobody gets it because everyone's like stuck in like seeing this number here for like that was here for 2 weeks and then down here and a lot of people have lost the vision, the vocal ones anyways, and this is like what could happen. It doesn't need to happen. It could happen at a lot slower of a rate, but all of this is just bullish. Like there's nothing bearish about HEX. Like people that are bearish on HEX are missing the point. Like the APYs are locked in immutable code and unchangeable. And this is just a repeat. If we were to repeat out the same HEX cycles we just did, we had that same big ass move off the bottom of that triangle, some chop, and then we start breaking out and chewing through to 3 to 5 cent levels. I mean, the Ethereum guys are going to pile in on this trade because it's an automatic trade setup. It's perfect. This setup right here. This is something that as a trader, there's billions of dollars on Ethereum, guys. Like as a trader, they're looking at nice structure, low, higher, low, higher, low. 3 rising valleys of a certain sentiment, holding the 111 day as support. This is just the beginning of a move that targets like anywhere from 2 to 3 cents on this next pump. And man, I don't know how people can miss this stuff. Like I look at this stuff every day, so I'm not going to miss it, but it's a perfect setup. You can leverage the T-shares and you could just trade it. Like more and more people are going to pile into this thing and accept it. That's just the inevitability because of that immutable code, man. And the price performance is what's going to draw people in.
And the product's built up on it too. I mean, just you didn't even touch on all the derivatives, all the
Hedron and Nicosa V2 coming, all the perpetuals, pool party. So there's plenty of other things built on it that also adds value to it. Kind of get that same fractal here from the combined HEX price, which would predict like a similar, like I think $8 to $12 is for combined HEX is definitely within the realm of possibility, assuming we get, more user adoption. So if stakers go from 130,000 to 1.3 million, those numbers are easy to hit, 100%. Especially with HEX, because a lot of that supply is going to get locked up when the price is at its most extremes. So many new people are going to get in and want a piece of the action, and they'll be chasing that yield. And why? Well, we have proof of concept with Bitcoin. It's called Bitcoin mining. That's where I came from, guys. Bitcoin mining. I did that. So I understand the economics of why Bitcoin has any value at all. And the reason is because there's a thing called a carrot on a stick. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Well, the carrot on the stick for Bitcoin was the Bitcoin rewards. And anytime that the price came up, or anytime so the hash rate started moving up ahead of schedule because you could get Bitcoins and Bitcoins had any value at all. Well, HEX has any value at all. It's a penny on one chain and it's 2 cents on the other chain. So that has any value at all. So that means that the yield is paying somebody something. By the way, there's like $1.6 billion locked up in HEX on one of the chains. So that's the foundation, right? The table has been set. Now, the hash rate here, you could assume that that's kind of like the yield that's paid out or the T-share rate as it ascends over time. Well, then the price actually has to chase the yield because it creates that carrot on the stick, that something to go after. Like my dollars are going to make me more in HEX and they're going to make me sitting in my bank account. So that's like on a world starved for yield, you got to do something. Well, why not get some HEX and just be guaranteed to get more units, you know? And then, you know, as the market cycle tops and price declines, you do see like a delay effect where hash rate goes sideways, but the carrot is still there and it creates a price floor. And that would be like the equivalent of the T-share stabilizing and dollar price. And then eventually the carrot's still there. So in the next wave, there's a trade down here. Then the investor class gets in, then the hype wave, and it just repeats all over again and again and again and again. And this is the future of HEX. And you're just seeing it here. Bitcoin was our proof of concept. Now we have a better version. In HEX, I can buy a unit of a coin and get the mining equipment at the same time. In Bitcoin, you have to go spend dollars or Bitcoin to lose that value to get the equipment, hope that you plug it in time, hope that your costs don't exceed your profits, and then hope that you can get out of the thing with your skin on your back. Whereas in HEX, you get both the mining equipment and the unit, the crypto at the same time, so you don't have to risk losing on one side of the trade. It's amazing technology. Like, it's the best thing that since sliced bread.
And 4 years of flawless operation too, on top of it.
Mad gains, flawless operation, immutable code, like go on.
It's always there working for you. You never have to worry about it. It's genius. There's no doubt about it of what was built.
Best founder, best community. Good on the list. I mean, again, I hope there's a lot of new people listening and have become excited about crypto recently because we've been covering this stuff for years, and it's only been getting better in so many different ways, metrics and otherwise. And HEX starts with HEX. I don't know when it's going to end, but boy, it's pay attention to HEX. Beautiful thing. I know at one point, because I want to talk about DAI and the movements there too, but also, yeah, just can we go up now?
Yeah, we can. We can basically go hit the highs on Pulse within 14 days.
Yep.
What is between the buys, is it, because we talked about before, all the money that needs to come in, we're kind of just trading with ourselves right now, money coming in from other directions. Now we see benevolent entities bridging, buying, making a ton of yield plays and otherwise. What is that? Yeah, what is your all's take too, just on, for example, the theory that, why is the entity making, doing the yield? Why are they depositing different yield protocols and stuff on Ethereum? Is that going to be perpetual buy pressure that they're going to use the yield, kind of help make Ethereum support PulseChain type of thing, those protocols? What are your all's takes on the interesting conspiracies and things that may actually come true happening right now?
I mean, that's coming from the understanding of DeFi. That's what I would do. I mean, why would you spend your principal when you can let yield do its job for you? You hold on to that principal, and then at any given time you can always deploy the principal if you need to. So, but if you don't need to, and you have plenty of yield coming in, you can still do the same, achieve the same purpose, just not at the same rate. And that's why I look at it. So as Ethereum and goes up in value, and all the value of Bitcoin and all that is pulled up in this next bull run, maybe their interest rate gets even higher. Who knows? We don't know if the rates are static, if that's just something MakerDAO has on it, or it's adjustable. But there's other tools. Avi's got tools, and stuff like that. That I think, if I'm mistaken, I think some of them's deposit Avi as well. So yeah, it's just making money with the tools that exist, or DeFi tools on Ethereum, and then bridging it back over and that value back to PulseChain. I mean, it's like a good little vampire attack if you want to think of it that way. it's just smart money and smart moves, because you never want to use your principal for the move. You want to use the yield. That's much more sustainable in long term.
Yeah, I think you can't. So if you want to keep all of the economic energy flowing in the closed system and Pulse, you don't want to get yield from there. You want to get it from outside and bring it to home, but bring it back home. And so yeah, I mean, it makes sense to if you miss the bottom on ETH and in Bitcoin, and you still have stable coins, why not earn some yield on it? And when the volume's at its highest, maybe you get a little bump, and it's stable. Main word stable. So it's like support. It's long term. It's a safe, predictable way to get more ammunition for any outcome. Like, it doesn't matter what we think is going to be done with it. That stuff can change. I'm sure even the guy holding the coins or the keys will change his mind a couple times over the years. But just to have that income stream, like we've been preaching all day, is you shouldn't be selling crypto right now. You should be finding income streams. Like, it's the same for that bag as it is for us. Like, imagine if everybody brought money in, net buyers, and there was like the extractors run out of things to sell. You just have a bank run, like in the opposite direction.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, in the whole, we got to buy and burn for PulseX. Will we get a yield and buy, Y and B, upgrade? Coin the term just in case it happens. Yield and buy, upgrade for PulseChain. This morning, you guys woke up, talked to your significant other, your wife, girlfriend, otherwise, and you're like, hey, it's a really cool morning. Richard's buying the coins, or all that stuff. One thing they might ask you is, if they're, they've been following and paying attention, if they're into crypto. Probably most people don't, but if they were into it, they'd be like, cool, is that sustainable? What is the right answer there? Like, is it sustainable to have this sort of yield generation play that may or may not be intertwined with PulseChain, but then have this allocation capital that is literally buying coins from time to time? Is that sustainable even with a large amount of money?
Yeah, this is just the bootstrap phase. Eventually the market's going to take on a life of its own. This is just the beginning. Any good crypto project any good company needs seed funding to get it going off the ground. The guys that take the most risk come in at the floor prices and get the most amount of units. And same thing here. More supply will be removed forever. And in terms of the capital being deployed, is it sustainable? It's being deployed at a sustainable rate currently. And if it was depleted entirely, I would assume that we'd have 10 million users. Like, it would have been in an effort to get the 10 million users or 30 million users. Like, it will never be depleted, most likely. But if it were, it'd be because we're at 10, 20, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million users. Like, that's for glory, right?
Yeah, it's a means to an end, right? That's the whole point. And the means are either you're going to use yield from outside sources, or you use the principal. Either way, the end result is obviously more people in the system, which brings value, obviously, and ultimately sustainability in a good, healthy ecosystem.
How many 10K clips should we expect next? What was there, like 38? I thought somebody, that's what the Money Gang said, deployed 38 $10,000 clips into PLS, PLSX, HEX, and Inc. Notably missing there, EHEX. Some people's favorite, some people's not favorite. What does this mean? Tomorrow, are we going to do, all right, 38 more? Or what do you guys think is going to happen?
Don't know.
It's much funner to speculate now that something cool happened, right?
Yeah.
Before, you're just this crazy person. Oh, what are you talking about? That would never happen. And then now it's like, is this going to be a thing?
Well, it depends on the rate in which people. I think it'll be a function of how often people sell against the buys, right? If people behave themselves, they don't sell. Maybe he does it again. Right? And then trying to shake the people out. Noticing he's only doing a little bit at a time. He can do it all the way up to like 20 times, right? With just this one deposit. So that's a play. And he'll just space it out and look at the psychology and how people are reacting. Once we hit, say, a 2x from SAC. Okay, now we're 2x from SAC. What are people doing? Are they dumping out? Okay, he may wait a minute before he does it again. Who knows? Richard's going to reward the people who were loyal to him. That's his MO. because he wants glory. So, and he will help. Yes, he's always said that he will, do the right thing for his loyal followers, and then that's what we can expect him to do.
I mean, there's seem to be whales out there with billions of PLS and PLSX and millions of HEX who seem to be interested in selling it by their actions and otherwise. Is it just one of those, hey, just I got more than you, keep it coming, or is it going to be like, I just don't know what other move would make sense other than, well, we've waited long enough to shake out the weak hands, and now we're gonna have to soak up some sell pressure. It is what it is, but this is the best situation we could be in. That's what it feels like, at least from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, we got all the time in the world, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd rather these guys sell it at 2x than a 20x, right? Let them sell at 2x. They're done, right?
The other thing too you got to consider is if the OA wallets are providing liquidity, the way these liquidity pools works is they're basically buying their own coins off themselves and reputting their own coins back in their own wallet. If their positions are big enough in the farms, so or I shouldn't say in the farms, but in LP pools, because there's a potential there for an OA to put LP in the LP pools, but not go into the farm, so that he's not taking away from the user base and their rewards, and he's growing that pot while just keeping his LP in the just for on the side, not in the farms, and then doing this revolving infinite money glitch loop, basically situation which is what's the magic of the pump proven technology of Uniswap V2, now called PulseX. It's amazing how that the LP setup works. If you are the sole holder of the LP, you are buying and selling. You are buying your own coins from yourself, and it just pushes the price up forever. So, yeah, you know what? We're just getting started. We got so much time left in this cycle, and it's going to be a wild, fun ride. Careful with the leverage. Careful with different protocols would put your coins at risk. If you just close your eyes, position yourself now, close your eyes, and wait 12 to 18 months, you're going to look back and be like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's I mean, just speaking of LP, maybe we'll finish up on that point too of, is there a way, that much money coming in, we have some over the bridge, we have some, making moves, buying and otherwise. We have the yield being generated on Ethereum. Not sure what it's going to be used for yet. Maybe it'll help the ecosystem in some way. What are the ways, I guess, if they were to even bridge over the coin, maybe bridge over more stable coins, something backed by something. I guess two different things. One, could they pair that with other things on the farms or otherwise integrate it? Just would just adding more liquidity, adding more DAI, adding more whatever stable coins to the ecosystem, would that help support future moves going forward, even if it's, things are being bought and otherwise with other bags? And then
let's get that one first. So the answer would be, it would support the price where it is, but it would cost more economic energy input to get the price chart to move the same amount. Mm-hmm. So if you double the liquidity, there's more price support, but it's also cost twice as much to get the price chart to move. So ultimately, you'd want to see this phenomena, which I talk about a lot, which is liquidity is removed, the pump happens, liquidity is replaced to absorb the sell-off. Rinse and repeat.
So is that, do you see anything set up in a way that would make that look like it's coming or possible? Or what needs to happen for you to be like, oh, I see that pattern, I see that liquidity, removal, and buy pressure and otherwise coming? Or how close are we if you do see anything like that?
Well, if you want to know that kind of information, you need to look into the PulseX info tab and look into each pairs, and you're basically going to put yourself in a position where you got a new full-time job, because it's a lot to track. But
it sounded easy when you first said it. That's why.
That's why I just like looking at the geometry, because it's like, all I need is some words on Twitter and some geometry, and that's enough for me to say, hey, this is where things can go if we get the momentum, and here's your target levels and stuff. So you can reduce it down to a much simpler thing once we're in a trending market. When we're not in a trending market is when things are tough.
And just confirm, we are in a trending market.
We are in a trending market, trending to the upside, hard.
And the other part of the LP would be if it was bridged over, but not used for liquidity, if it was just used for buying. Yeah, I guess it just goes back to the yield and buy scenario, which God, I hope happens, because that just sounds. I don't know. Have we?
If you took away all the user funds and the OA just put in the LP and bought the coins that were on, he'd just be buying his own coins and the price would keep going up. But by not setting LP in there, you're actually rewarding guys in the farms or in the LP pools by the price appreciation, or directly, or because they're DCAing. He's basically allowing them to DCA out for the guys that's providing stable coins. And then there's the other more exotic pairs where things are more in fluctuation, like crypto to crypto pairs. Different dynamic there, of course. Yeah, I mean it's a deep topic, probably like one of my most fun things to talk about. But yeah, if you want to know more about liquidity, I'm sure these guys know some. I love this stuff. It's go check out AxisAlive.com, man. We always talk about it every day. We're looking at it.
So just LP, so not necessarily adding LP, but just buying. So just buy pressure. I guess, yeah, let's just end on that then. Like, final question, what are the scenarios that you would like to see that would be good for price coming up that could actually happen based on what we've seen so far?
What do you think, Neil?
Well, I mean, I think you're right, Axis, earlier, that if he buys some of his own tokens from the LP, then pulls LP, or first pull LP, then buy tokens, price goes up, right? That's just how you would do it. And he keeps doing that till the price drops in that LP and repeat. That is the best solution for this to keep the price going up. It's really simple in those terms, because as more people come in, the more economic energy it takes to push the price, because that takes that much more to go past in the pairs, right? It's just the V2 liquidity, how it works. So it's just one of those things that would be the play. But eventually, though, if we have a lot of people coming in and they flood the market with dollars and they buy all the stuff up, he would have to add even more to really push the price. We'd be pushing our own price at a certain point, but then how many people it would take to come in after that to push the price beyond where we are, whatever X level it is?
Yeah, Metcalfe's law. That's where you get into like the adoption and the rate of adoption and how much more money's crossing the bridge and stuff like that.
Exactly. So there's math there that's you can kind of speculate on, but Richard knows the math really, really well, and I trust that he's going to do the right thing mathematically, because he knows how to play this game through psychology and everything else. Something we've already talked about. So of all the people, he's probably the master at this game. We've seen him do it HEX. He'll do it again with PulseChain because he's in it for glory.
And we saw what he did with Bitcoin. So he's already said, guys, that he made the $30 top on Bitcoin. So that's him saying, hey, I invented the hockey stick in Bitcoin. You're welcome. And I can do it again, and I can do it again, and I can do it again. And that's whose team I want to be on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think everything that we've seen in January, December, you could say January, now, into February and stuff, it seems surgical. It seems like, hey, there's a playbook. I know how to press the right buttons. Maybe I'm waiting for certain events. Maybe there's a timing aspect in one way or another. But once you start pressing the buttons, it's kind of like, what are the chances there's just no more buys? There's no more bridging. It almost feels like there's momentum here. Like there's got to be
100%.
Well, it's a function of he has to react to the market too.
Yep.
He does something. There's a reaction. Then he reacts based upon what happens, one way or the other, either by inactivity or activity. Mm-hmm. He's doing that. So therefore the momentum change goes on. So he knows the system so well, he will play that game, and the momentum will happen at the rate of which we react as the users and then the market itself.
100%. It's really it's so fun to watch. It's not, and here's the thing too, guys, is it's not sorry, I was trying to type and speak at the same time. This isn't going down a road where this is going to be a one-man show forever. Like, this is definitely going to grow to the point where he's going to have less and less impact over time on what happens in the market. Eventually, this thing's going to get legs of its own. This is just the bootstrap phase. That part people can't quite see yet because this is so, they think it's so tied to one man or one address. And I just don't see it that way because I think that after a second cycle, you basically solidify this ecosystem as the GOAT of DeFi front and center. You throw a dismissal of an SEC case or a big win, and you amplify that even more. And here we are, HEX is the Bitcoin of DeFi, and PulseChain is the Ethereum of DeFi. And in a worst case scenario, the OA funds get burned to a contract address and no one has control of them ever again. In a worst case, in a best case, things go on like normal. We all live, happily into our later years of life, and this thing just takes off and you get to 100 million users. It's all in motion.
Yep. And you add to it automation technologies with Tetra and stuff that's going to bring a dynamic to the space that's never been seen before on any blockchain. So that's just further pushes the cycle, and we'll be able to do things, automatic hex stakes, end stakes. You can just automatic ladder. I mean, all the things with HEX, you can just have a ton of things with Hedron, Icosa. It's just going to be a beautiful system. People will be able to extract their values as they see fit, reinvest, earn all this good yield.
Hey, that's a really good point you just made, which was that this is really the only chain where there's real users using the chain. Really. I mean, most people are priced out of ETH and their numbers are going down every day. Yeah, the price is going up, but the real on-chain users are going down. Mm-hmm. This chain has more and more on-chain users every day. This is where DeFi is going to get executed and taken to the next level through things like Tetra. And I mean, that's just the start. Like the amount of like utility contracts and protocols that's going to be built on PulseChain in 5 years is, you can't even imagine it yet.
It's a lot now. Look, we get calls every day. New people coming to us, ask us, "Hey, when you have automation, can you help me fix this? I got a problem." Or, "Hey, I need some design help." You name it. That's why we came up with True DeFi, because they saw a need of people that just don't understand. They may be good devs or good coders, but they have no idea how to market. They have no idea how to run a company, or how to get this product market fit. All these concepts that you need for good DeFi products. So we're just trying to fill a gap, trying to help people out with our knowledge base and our toolkit with Tetra. So, and Tetra Labs.
Super excited for 2024. A lot of cool stuff. Hedron V2, got Tetra coming up. You got, PulseX bridge upgrades may or may not happen. And again, if you're new here, Richard, PLS devs, benevolent entities, whoever, if buying up coins seems weird to you, like what would you say if you turn on CNBC and the headline was Elon Musk buying $200 million Tesla stock? You'd probably be like, "Oh, wow, it sounds like he's bullish on Tesla."
Yeah, they're called stock buybacks. They happen all the time, right? Amazon, Apple, they're buying their stuff back. I mean, it's normal.
Exactly. Or if a person or company does a stock buyback, oh, they must be doing well, right? So just because it's crypto, people assume it's strange or something. It's just maybe just because most people just seen all these short-sighted, short-term, zero-sum rug pull games where they haven't watched 100 hours of content to realize this ecosystem, historically speaking, from all the relevant angles and analysis, appears to be a magic carpet ride, and it's pretty exciting. We'll see.
333 viewers.
They're here for the magic carpet ride. I do believe.
By the power of threes.
Get on the ship. We're going to the moon.
That's right.
So many fun. I certainly hope so, everyone. Guys, excellent. The stream goes without saying. Where can people find out more about you and your work? Start with Neil. Head down to Axis.
All right. Well, yeah, you can find me on Telegram and work for crypto, and I'm in the Tetra chats all the time. You can see the Tetra or the True DeFi chat, either one. And we're here just to help. The tools are coming. It's just almost there. We're almost done with Omnis and all the foundation of the automation tools. So if you want to set limit orders, you can do it now. Now's the time to use limit orders. Don't get left out and miss out on these pumps, because we have the tools now. There's no excuse. You don't have to watch your charts. And so our next release will have the compound limit orders and limit order editing, so you can set them and forget them, basically. So, and then we'll have the automation tools here, right after that.
AxisAlive, you can find me at youtube.com/AxisAlive. You can find me on Twitter or X at AxisAlive. You can go to check out the website at AxisAlive.com. We offer services. I have a huge library of all of my past YouTube streams there. There's blog posts. I just recently put up a blog post about the PDI, or Atropa ecosystem and kind of what's been going on over there in that realm, because it's its own little like cool niche area where they're trying to create this huge burnt liquidity floor of value so that the prices of PulseChain related assets rise forever. Very cool little educational process going through that. And I'm going to be on stream in an hour and 20 minutes with Vibra Finance to go over some new protocols that's coming out. One of them is Project Pi, which is a liquid staking derivative on PulseChain. One of them is P-Day, which is similar to Tetra, and it's supposed to. They're working on an open book order protocol. It's like a Uniswap V4 style on-chain signing. It's a new way to transact to bring more liquidity and a more efficient order system to PulseChain, as well as they're working on like AI trading strategies and an OTC on-chain OTC desk, which is amazing. I can't wait for that personally. And then the third project we're going to talk about is called HEX 1, which is supposed to be a HEX T-share collateralized stablecoin. And if they could pull that off, imagine staking HEX for 10 to 15 years in the protocol. You can't emergency end stake it, but you can borrow dollars against it and basically get liquidity now by collateralizing the future value of the treasury of the HEX stake you put up. How powerful could that be? So yeah, come check me out on there, Vibra Finance, and at 7 p.m. Eastern in about hour and 20 minutes. And come out to Vegas next week if you can. I don't know if there's any spots left, but RHMax and I'll be there. Neil, I don't know, are you going to be there?
No, I have. We got stuff we're trying working on our products. We're trying to get P2X tested and audited, so we're real busy right now.
All right, no problem.
So that's a maybe. It's a maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just rush it out the door.
Tetra staking, and then it will come. Okay. Get Tetra staking finished, and then we'll
right. Yeah. Well, that's on top of everything else, right? So yeah, I'm real busy right now.
So we'll give you a pass on this one, but yeah. So I'll be there on Wednesday through Friday. Seminar on Friday afternoon talking about passive income on PulseChain, and I'm sure RHMax. I think you're on earlier in the day, right?
I can't remember which time, but yeah, I'll be talking about HEX, PulseChain ecosystem stuff. All that. Yeah, I'm excited for Vegas. Good to hang out with Axis again. I know we first met in person at the PulseChain tour, or sorry, PulseCon. Yeah,
the PulseCon.
PulseCon. I'm not reading into that at all. It was a great time. It was
a good time. The parties made it worth it.
Yeah,
I met Candace there, so it was badass.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so there's no shortage of stuff going on in the Pulse world, Pulse and HEX world. So hey, nice meeting you, Neil. This first time on a stream together. It was a lot of fun, and we talked about a lot of good stuff. And RH, thanks for having me on. Thanks to everyone who showed up and listened. It's funny what happens when green candles. We're up about 120 more viewers than normal.
People are interested in retiring early and financial freedom now.
Hey, I don't blame you. I am too. I've been here all year. I've been here all 2 years.
Yeah, right. Tell me about it.
Been here for many years, but I've been, like I said, sort of streaming. May will be my stream anniversary, I guess. Working on 2 years.
Stream-iversary.
Stream-iversary. But I have not slowed down, but no promises. I get the island any moment. I'll be gone. And hopefully it'll be like, he did enough. He did enough. We all did enough. Don't need to, we gave more than we took, all that stuff. Anyways, everyone, hope you enjoyed the stream. Free money stream. Scivive and 5555. We are out.